Welcome, Empire fans, to a special podcast of Williamsburg football. Speaking with head coach Rob Woodward. Coach, just going back to that Waverly game, man, so many opportunities there. What a great game, though, and I know that you guys were disappointed in the loss, but I think when you guys go back and look at that, you're going to find that it was just a great game.
Oh, it was, for sure. A great high school football game that, two teams going at it, battling opportunities that they had to put the game away, but our guys rose to the challenge and got themselves right back in a situation where we could put the game away. Their team responded, and it was back and forth throughout the whole entire time. There were mistakes made, sure, by both teams, but, we look back and we evaluate those, and what you love to see as a coach is when you play a game like of that magnitude, it exposes things that maybe you thought you could do or be or have, and it exposes that to say, you're not quite where you thought you were. And, we get to evaluate those things and learn from them. And that's what I tell guys all the time. We don't use the other L word. We use the learn word and talk about a learning experience that we gained from that to make us a better football team. Coach Caskey referenced with our guys a learning moment we had back in 2014 that we then responded and went out and continued to battle and play better and ultimately instilled making us better within our program. And we're always trying to do that, make sure that we try to do that and teach kids that, because the game of football parallels the game of life in terms of all those situations and ways you got to respond and adversity moments. And, man, our kids, I tell you, they fought for 4 quarters. They fought all the way to the end with their opportunities. Waverly team did the same, and hats off to them. The team with the ball last was the team that was ultimately, able to put the points on the board that kind of sealed the game. So, again, we've taken moments from that game, and we've responded and learned from them and gotten better as a football team, and it's only going to help us, I think, move forward.
You had talked about that being a tough challenge, and usually you get those tough challenges early in the season, which you didn't get. So when you say that you don't get to prepare for that, well, that was pretty much sprung upon you, and then you say, well, this is how we got to move forward from it.
Yeah, that's why we challenge ourselves early in that non-conference game so that we can get exposed where we need to get exposed. And our guys have played great football against some good football teams, but we played a team at Waverly that was playing at a very high level. They had a lot of seasoned guys that had been in experiences themselves, and we were a little green in some areas, and we had to talk about some things, but we still had some great performances. Josh Clark's an individual that I thought had a great performance out there at the corner spot, guarding, some great receivers that they have. He responded with 6 pass deflections, and 2 of those being crucial plays that were down in the end zone at times. We've talked about some mistakes that were here and there, but there were mistakes across the board by different people at different situations, and we're always, again, reevaluating ourselves as coaches and players and trying to look at where we get better. Blake Richardson had a great game down in the interior. Defensively, played very well. And we had some guys grade out well on the offensive line. Matter of fact, we had a lot of grades throughout the game when we grade our players that were all, good grades. And that was just a good high school football game. You look at some of those, and it wasn't like it was just a complete letdown. We were playing at a high level. They were playing at a high level. And, again, it just was a game that came down to, of course, the final play.
Right. And then another outstanding performance by Derek Lattimore. He had a good game running the ball, and you said probably attribute that to that offensive line too as well.
Yeah, Derek did a great job. Eric was explosive and attacked, and we've been continually trying to bring Eric along in terms of how he needs to run, how he needs to play, and how he fits within our offense. And he's responding very well and doing a great job. But the line played well, and we had some misdirection and different guys that really spread people out. And, we looked to take chances throughout the game, and Matthew Miller's big shot down the sidelines there to Ian Fannin was just a very calculated risk that we took and capitalized on. And Ian made a great play, and Matthew made a great play on that. And again, kind of protection that we wanted, and different just situations throughout that we can take as good performances as those positive plays. And then, of course, there were, again, negatives, but just a great game that we can all learn from for sure.
Yeah, I thought the defense did really, really well. Just from the offensive standpoint, not being able to capitalize on, but you got to put yourself against that wall, and you guys did really, really well against the high-powered offense.
Well, yeah, we responded in the second half. We responded with 3 and outs, and we responded with 3 and outs and didn't capitalize in a couple situations when we really needed to, to try to get 10 more yards, and we're in field goal range. Of course, they had an opportunity down there and a missed field goal that just gave us another opportunity. Again, a lot of things throughout that game. But, again, we're coming out better, and that's what we want moving forward as we look towards our next opponent in the SOC, which is, again, the next thing we want to focus on. We're focusing on that Valley team at home at our place and continuing to perfect and better ourselves.
What do you like to see out of your kids going into this week, Coach?
I want to see execution. I want to see that they recognize, what we're talking about. There's times where I don't care if you tell somebody 10 times that this is going to happen. They don't pay attention to it once until it smacks them in the face and they fall flat on their face or they get punched right in the mouth. And then they go, what? Oh, I didn't know that was going to happen. Well, yeah, you did, We've talked about it, but that's just part of being an adolescent. That's just part of being I've been there myself, and as not only a young player or a young student, I've been there as a young coach, a young dad, a young employee, and things that you just have to go, whoa, it happens, and you look at that and you make sure you don't do it again the second time, or you learn from it. So we that's what we want to see out of our guys moving forward. Do they recognize that situation that we may have presented, and can we as a coach look at how to better align or better place ourselves in there, and I think we've all as a team responded to it and to do a better job.
Coach, you do move on to Valley, and then you move on to West to finish out the season. Tell me a little bit about, because I'm not sure fans may know kind of how the system will work as far as moving into the playoffs, how things are going to be seeded. I know that's coming up after this game. Is there anything that you can touch base on there to kind of clue some fans in on that?
Well, if anyone logs on to Joe Itel and looks at what's called the Harbin points that Joe Itel kind of follows us with that, it looks at team schedules and strength of schedule, and it ranks teams, and we've always gone by that typically in the past in terms of how we lay out who's the top 8 teams and who's there. This year, the difference is you have an entire region that is able to make the playoffs, so they have to then take the time allotted, which is basically 7 weeks that we have for playoffs, and they have to fit those 25 teams into a tournament bracket. And then with the looks of things, our region has 25 teams, therefore we'll have 7 byes. So the top 7 teams will have a bye week 10. Not week 10, but October 10th. Our games will be on Saturdays this year. So there'll be a bye week in there, and lower bracketed teams will play, and then the higher seeded team has a home game, and then whoever you play the next week, whoever the higher seeded team is, has a home game, and it just follows that format all the way through the regional semifinals. Regional finals haven't been determined whether or not they'll be home or not for that higher seeded team. That remains to be seen. But regardless, all of those rankings are something that comes out this weekend, and that's based on coaches' vote. Much like basketball, much like soccer, coaches have always done in the past. They get together and they basically say, here's my vote of who's 1 through 25, and everybody shakes out and puts that in, and they have a format of being able to take those votes and then see where everybody ends up, and ultimately that's who will be playing who. So all that'll, again, the votes would be this weekend, and then it'll all come out the Sunday following week 6.
Okay. So
and let us all know where that'll be.
It won't, as far as knowledge of how it will be, won't be till week 6, is what you're saying.
Yeah, I that's what I feel pretty confident about. I mean, I'm sure they're going to take, while the voting would be handed out on Friday or Saturday, Sunday, they're going to take some time just to, tabulate, calculate, put all that stuff together, and start to. One of the things they like to do is communicate sites and make sure that they when they do publish who's playing who, they're also saying who's playing who where. So they want to take some time and kind of say, this is what it looks to be. And again, the Harbin points on Joe Itel will be a great kind of layout for where different teams are. But excited to see everybody getting a chance to make the playoffs, and who knows? We all want to be playing our best football come the end of the year. That's something that we focus on, and it gives people a chance to definitely practice that and go out and put forth that effort.
Well, Coach, thanks for taking time. Any final thoughts before we knock off this week?
This is kind of our homecoming weekend, our homecoming game. This is a little different this year. Big thank you to everybody that's worked to contribute throughout things this season, and congratulations to our queens and all that kind of stuff for homecoming. It'll be a little different, but hey, the number one thing is we're all getting an opportunity to play a game that we love, to cheer for a game that we love, to play in the band for a game that we love, and represent our school and community the way that we want to. It maybe a little different, but we're still getting that opportunity. We're thankful for that, and we're going to embrace every moment that we get. And our guys have definitely been doing that in terms of practice and what they've done. And I can't say enough about the work effort that they put in. But we got some more work ahead of us, and we got to continue to just keep getting better and going out and playing good Berg football.
Thanks, Coach. That's Rob Woodward for his final thoughts for this week matchup against Lucasville Valley. The Pirates will take on Lucasville Valley this Friday night at Ed Miller Stadium around 7 o'clock. We'll be on around 6:45. Thanks, Coach.
Thank you, Gene. Appreciate it. Go Berg.